Well, I, for one, am feeling like a hot little tamale. And I'm not talking about the fact that it's 92 degrees in the studio and my AC isn't working, and I'm totally not mad about it at all. Trust me, stop asking. I'm talking about the fact that the overall market, SPX, NDX, Bitcoin, all hitting new all-time highs, but it's happening when the President of the United States is absolutely crashing out. So in this video, I'll be breaking down how they're kind of playing off of each other and maybe a little bit of a better idea of what to expect in this upcoming trading week in the world's largest casino, aka the old stock market. But very quickly, before we get to all of that, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the nicest way that you could say, hey Matt, we appreciate the fact that you're risking heat stroke to give us the old TLDR of what in the world's going down in the markets. And with that being said, let's make like the Rolling Stones and get rocking. Just for a little bit of context, when the market officially closed on Friday, July the 11th, here was the headline. Dow falls 280 points, S&P logs weekly loss as Trump trade war escalates. Though that is technically true, we did also hit new all-time highs. Right here, you can see on Thursday, July the 11th, S&P 500, the overall market, brand new all-time high. NDX hit it the day before, the Nasdaq 100, and actually as I'm filming this in real time, surprise, surprise, old bitty Bitcoin is once again hitting another new all-time high. Probably by the time you're watching this, it will be higher, but what I'm seeing right now is 119.5 thousand. Hey, here's hoping by the time you are watching this that we're above 120. So obviously it goes without saying that I want to talk about all of this, the equities market, the options market, and the crypto market, and really why I think it's going to keep pumping higher this upcoming week. But first, we got to talk about the hot drama, and I'm talking about how the President of the United States is crashing out. I don't know if you saw President Donald J. Trump's most recent Truth Social update. Basically, he's not so happy people are still talking about those e-files, even though he promised that we're going to get them. Obviously, this is a very long message, so I'm not going to bore you with it. I'll make sure it's linked below if you want to read the whole thing. But there's two things I want to bring to your attention. They jump out to me. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and losers and criminals of the Biden administration? So he's basically saying now someone else made the files. But even with that, then he goes on to kind of be angry that they didn't release it, even though he could now release it. I don't know. The whole thing's getting way more out of hand than it was before. And I feel like he's almost painted himself into a corner. I mean, even look here about how he ended his crash out. Let's keep it that way, referring to how things are the best that they've ever been and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. So we're in this pretty awkward situation where a big aspect of his campaign was saying, hey, I'm going to get the files, I'm going to release them, we're going to track down the people who did things they should not be doing, they're going to be held accountable, they're going to meet justice. And now we're being told that the files were created by someone else, the previous administrations, and now we should just stop talking about it. I would love to get your thoughts on it, but if you ask me, this whole thing getting really suspect. Anyway, when it rains, it pours. When we have a lot of drama with the president, he doesn't just stop at one thing. Trump announces a 30% tariff on EU and Mexico starting on August 1st. Trump said that if the EU or Mexico retaliates with higher tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added on the 30% that we charge. The EU collectively sells more to the US than any other single country. Even though that sounds pretty scary, not necessarily so good for the market, we did get some positive news. The EU is delaying retaliatory tariffs on the US goods in hopes of reaching a deal by August 1st. So a little bit of an olive branch there, and honestly, it makes me a bit more optimistic than pessimistic. What was that line that I said before? When it rains, it pours. I guess the new saying is when it rains, it pours, and then it absolutely thunders. Trump certainly can fire Fed Chair Powell if there's cause. Over the weekend, there was a lot of drama and rumors of, oh, Fed Chair Powell, he's going to resign, he's going to step down. There's a lot of pressure from the administration. Might be true, might not be true. If I had to guess, I don't think he's going to be leaving until May of next year, but we are obviously seeing the administration at odds with the Fed chair. I don't know, I'm bringing it up because it might become a more important narrative, but if you ask me, this is more of the Bachelor-esque drama and not necessarily important to what's going on in the economy, the stock market, and things that are going to directly impact your position. It's more of, hey, let's cross that bridge if we come to it. Obviously, it could become massively important, but as of right now, it's more of hey, show it to me in my opinion, before we should really care. So obviously, the president crashing out, the trade war, and what's going on with the Fed and the FOMC and interest rates can all have a massive impact on the economy and the stock market. And obviously pay attention to those this upcoming trading week. But don't forget, we have a lot of major macroeconomic reports as well. On Tuesday, we're going to get the CPI inflation report. On Wednesday, we're going to get the PPI inflation report. And then on Thursday, we're going to be getting some manufacturing numbers and also some retail numbers. So basically Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, early in the morning, make sure you're paying attention. Over the past 20 years, the past 2 decades worth of S&P 500 data, if you look at this portion of July where we are, clearly from a seasonal standpoint, the bulls are in control. If you want to look at the last 5 years, the upcoming 2 weeks are bullish. And if you want to look at the last 3 years, same exact thing, ding, 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 the bulls are in control. I would say it's a pretty safe argument that the trade war and also what's going on with the macroeconomic reports are really going to be what decides how good or bad this upcoming week is. But obviously from a seasonality standpoint, I would clearly argue that the bulls do have some tailwinds. But don't forget, and we haven't talked about it in a bit, we're about to get rocking with earnings season. Earnings season poses new tests for the stock market record. So this upcoming week, we haven't talked about them in a bit, but yes, we're going to get a lot of earnings. Big financial institutions, JP Morgan, Citi, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, all kind of kicking it off on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to hear from the semiconductor world of ASML, then Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson. On Thursday, I'm sure a lot of you are going to pay attention to TSMC and Netflix. Feel free to screenshot this. Feel free to write them down. Feel free to pause the video. Feel free to go to @eWhispers. But folks, obviously, it's been weeks since we had to talk about earnings. It is back on the menu once again, especially these high-flying tech plays, going to have a massive impact. And if equities and options aren't necessarily your cup of tea, fear not, because biddy old Bitcoin, the grandfather of internet digital money, is ripping. This year, Bitcoin is up 106%, which means the overall crypto sector is worth 3.7 trillion. That is trillion with a T, and Bitcoin itself is about 2.4 trillion of that. And right now, as I alluded to, Bitcoin is pumping to a new all-time high, literally as I'm filming this video, which means a lot of the bears are getting their butts handed to them. Justin, another 22 million worth of Bitcoin shorts liquidated in the past 60 minutes. Over the weekend, people have been tracking this, and the cumulative number is in the excess of multiple billions. The shorts, the people betting against these all-time highs, are getting absolutely destroyed. And based on the seasonality, based on the whole concept of the Trump taco trade, I think that this trend is gonna keep going. Right now, really for the upcoming week, upcoming 2 weeks, let's just say the remainder of July, I think the bulls are firmly in control, not only in the equities market, but also the options market, and most definitely, clearly, the crypto market. So what does that mean for all of us? Well, obviously, I am bullishly biased in the short to medium term. I'll be looking for those low risk, high reward opportunities to really play that bias out in my day trades and my swing trades. And if for some reason we end up turning around, or if the opportunity is just not there, guess what? I'll just be sitting on my hands. But obviously, I'm not your mom. I'm not in control of your money. This is just my plan. So I would love to hear from you in a comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think that the bulls are fully in control? Or do you actually think that I'm just being a little bit too optimistic and this is a bull trap and the market's about to get smoked? Or do you think because we're going into OPEX that it might be more of a choppy week and kind of more of a little up, little down, and if anything, a lot of theta decay? That's what I have for you. I hope you had a great weekend. I'll catch you in the live stream tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. bright and early. I hope to see you there.